Yes, so I like to start with I have been with TD for 17 years. This is my first one with TD Broker Services. So I've been enrolled for just over a month, maybe not even a month, just shy of a month. I have done everything from being a bank teller to management. I know TD in and out, but this is very new to me, broker services. This is definitely a channel that I'm looking forward to learning as much as I can in and supporting all of you as best as I can. Sometimes I do have to ask for other experts for their advice just because I am new to role, but I will do my best to get you all the answers that you require anytime you need them. The other thing I like to say about presentations is in our world in the last 2 years, nothing is perfect. So if you hear a dog bark, a doorbell ring, a phone glitch, or web banking or something not working, your internet, it's okay. It is what it is. And that's the world we live in. So no apologies for interruptions because that is the world we now live with. Now, I had a small presentation, but I don't know much about any of you, so I don't know if I'm going over stuff everybody already knows, but my presentation was a little bit about onboarding, our rates, our flex line. It's a newer product this year. I'm not sure how much everybody is doing flex lines with TD at the moment, and if you are not, what questions you had. We have a little bit of a flex line. We have a little bit of a review of rental policies. And the reason I put these subjects in are these are the most recently asked questions that I've had in the last month. So I figured that if other people are asking, maybe you guys wanted to know as well.
So just to give you a heads up, Sonia, we do mortgages with TD, but it can be very painful for us. What should take a week or 2 weeks with other lenders can drag on for 6 to 8 weeks to, I want to stab myself in the eye. So just as a heads up for you.
That's good information to have. And Deb, when you speak of the 6 weeks, are you talking about fulfillment or approvals or conditions be met?
Whole process, everything. Like I've gotten deals approved and that's fairly quick, like within 4 or 5 days. So that's fine with conversations back in. And then you send documents in and you're waiting forever. You're waiting forever. In one case, like they had sent it for instructions, but they were still waiting for documents from me, which I've already sent in, and then we had to send them back in again. So it's very painful.
Okay.
So I kind of learned how to get around it now because I just include the big man pants in my emails and that seems to work.
Is that a secret name that you have? Is somebody on there that we need all to know who that is? I get it. Okay, it's a secret. Got it. So just to, I know there's already chat, and thanks, Brad, for sharing. Conditions is pretty much what I hear from everybody. We do know that, and I don't know if all of you guys do know, we have a little bit of the team has been changing a little bit, turnover and such, which is not an excuse. It is a fact. I know that they have a fairly new fulfillment specialist on the team, and I think some of them sometimes get a bit confused where what the conditions are that they're reviewing and the documentation that you guys so nicely provide to them. So I know that we're working very closely with First National to get those individuals up and running and faster. I know that this past Monday, I did send an email to everybody in regards to our days, are hopefully at 4 days right now. And if they go longer, please fill me in. I do want to be involved in all the ones that are taking longer than the 4 days that our queues are telling us we're at. And yes, I wanted to introduce Sim. He's my support today. He just messaged the team, and I am so sorry, Sim, I forgot to introduce you as well. Just in case there's a question or two that I do not know, Sim's gonna be my backup here. So he's gonna answer a couple of the questions as we go along, just so that both of us are kind of addressing everything that's coming our way for the next few minutes here.
Thanks, Sonia. Hi, everyone. I just posted a quick little message in the chat, but yeah, I'm just hanging out in the background to provide some stills as we go.
So I'm going to do my best here to share my presentation, and please let me know once you can see it, because once I start sharing, I think I won't be able to see any of you. Is it up? Hopefully.
Not yet.
No. Okay. Okay, where is it? It's not letting me share. Shoot. Pete, do you mind me forwarding this to you? I'm not sure. It's telling me I can't share it, which is very unusual. I'm just going to quickly pop it into an email for you.
Okay. Is it a PowerPoint?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Let me know when you get it. And in the meantime, any questions or anything that I can answer while we get this presentation up? Okay, Pete, it's on its way back to you.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Is your portal working? My file there in the last couple of weeks, I was sort of hit and miss. It would work some days and then the next day I couldn't get in. Is there been ongoing problems or is it on my end?
There was earlier this week, there was discussion amongst my colleagues that some brokers were having logging in issues. Each individual was reset and they gained access to it. If you still don't have access, let me know. I'll resend you your login and see if that fixes the problem. But there was a couple of my colleagues that said that some of the brokers were not able to get into Merlin, but none that were on my team. You're the first one to mention that. If you want to connect with me after, I can definitely get that reset for you.
I think it's fine now, Sonia, but it was just
Okay.
over the period of the 3 weeks, it was off and on. It seems to be fine now.
Okay. Well, keep me posted if it glitches out again. Let me know.
Must be a big file that hasn't come through yet.
No, shoot. I'm trying to share, and when I share it, it shows me everything but that. It won't let me pick up the file. So how you guys feel about the rate changes? I see a grin. Brad's happy. Yeah, of course he is. No, I know it's crazy times for sure. We're all just waiting for 2 weeks from now, or 3, I should say, when the next Bank of Canada meeting happens, the next announcement. Any luck, Pete? Didn't look that big. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the slides while we wait for them to show up, if that's okay.
The slides are there now.
Are they? Oh, fantastic. There we go. All right. So we'll go right into page number 3, if you don't mind, or do I have control? There we go. Perfect. So here are some of the points you guys brought up, which is the communication. We know that we send you guys out communication frequently, once, sometimes twice a week, and sometimes too many communications in one day. I've heard of that, where you're being bombarded with information from us. So we're trying to curb that. We're trying to limit the information we're sending out per day so that it's not 5 or 6 emails. If anything happens with underwriting, fulfillment, or specialist, dial me in. I'm here to support. I'm here to take some of those pain points away from the deals. And Jane, thanks for looping me in early this week. I know that you are frustrated with the file, and anything that I can do to help, that's what I'm here to do. Points of contact here would be us, and before submission, run any weird situations by me. Sometimes there's different ways to approach different files. Not every file is created equal, as everybody knows, and we're happy to support creative deal negotiating so that we know how to put together a file in there that the underwriters are going to like and we can all say yes to. During the submission, of course, the file will be with the underwriter, and then if there's questions about rates, that would be forwarded to myself so that I can go to Treasury and get the best rates that I can in this crazy rate environment. I'm seeing a lot more rate requests. Just a little bit on that, we're not seeing a lot of deductions with the rates, but I am seeing, depending on the file and what it is, the best that I saw this week was flex line at prime plus 0, which I haven't seen in a long time. I know, Pete, that shocked me too. So that was encouraging, which we haven't seen in a very long time. So maybe that's an indication what's happening going forward, but definitely excited to see that. We'll go on to the next slide, if that's okay. Again, approvals and the analysts are reviewing things within 24 hours, 48 hours. Oh, sorry, this is onboarding. My apologies, I'm on the wrong screen. Onboarding, I can have the timelines reviewed. Pre-approvals, again, everybody knows that they're within 120 days. If there's a file that's coming to close and we're close to the 120 days, I do need to know a minimum of 5 days before closing, because we do need to send it up to Treasury, and then fulfillment needs a minimum of 3 days so that they can send you a new commitment with the extension if there is one that's applicable. So give me the heads up prior to a deal expiring, because we can at times ask for an exception, but we do need to give fulfillment and the team at some time for the new commitments. And then on to the next page, unless there's any questions so far.
For pre-approvals, is it just fixed rates that you're doing the rate holds for, or do you do a pre-approval for a hold on a prime minus discount?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to ask Sim. This is fairly new to me. Sim,
Yes,
do you mind answering that?
For sure. Yeah, we do a hold on the discretion on variable rates for pre-approvals.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And this is why I brought backup. The next sheet there is broker templates. So we do have two now. This one is for the mortgages. I hope everybody has the flex line one as well. They are separate and they do have to be submitted differently for our Treasury, because they do quote them in the system a little bit different. If you guys don't have the template for the flex line one, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to send a refresher out to Pete, and he can cascade to everyone. But this is the rate sheet that we do ask you to fill out and send it to us so that we can get you some better rates. I've included the newer rates there as of this past Monday, or yes, Sue, we'll definitely send you a copy because we do have an updated one.
So just for our brokers that are a bit newer, can you go through why, first off, why there's two different prime rates? And why someone would request a better rate?
So TD has a mortgage prime rate, which is a little bit higher than the lending rate, which is 3.70. Why there's two different ones, I'm not 100% sure. I don't make these things. I'm not sure if there's an actual solid explanation, but there is two different ones. So when we're talking about prime is 3.70, but when we're talking about mortgages, it's 3.85 currently. So it is slightly higher for the mortgage product versus a flex line product, which is the new products that we have.
That's what I was trying to tease out of you. Just that if you're doing a regular mortgage, no HELOC, so not the flex line, that's the 3.85.
Correct.
If you're doing a mortgage that has the HELOC, so the flex line, The prime on that is 3.7, just so that everyone's aware.
On the revolving.
That's right.
Yes.
Actually, it's not just on the revolving. It is also on the term portion.
The term portion, correct. It looks a little bit different on the screen. On your Merlin screen, it'll actually say the two different ones. I'm not sure if you guys see the rate end on your side. I know that your screens are a little bit different than what I see. And why you'd want a better rate, well, you're going to make your customer happy. So you definitely want to come back and get a discounted rate. And competition, of course. I know that there's many rates out there circulating. Yesterday I was asked about prime minus, and I haven't heard prime minus 1.5, and I almost fell off my chair when somebody told me that was being offered out there. I think it wasn't, I'm going to not put this in bad words, crap, but you know, you throw it out there, who knows, right?
Right. So if anyone has like a competitive situation, we can ask for a bit better rate. Yeah, that's what this is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what this says. And send them. We don't know what gets approved. So Treasury, our Treasury team that approves our rate discounts connects with our bond market. So depending on how the bonds are yielding the day that they're reviewing, we might end up with a fantastic rate that we never expected from before. Whereas there are times where the bond market is not as favorable and the rates are lower. So just because you got, you know, an unfavorable rate today, if we have time, for another review of that rate, send it closer to the file closing, because bond market dictates our Treasury department. So it's not one and done. If we ask for a rate and it wasn't the greatest discount, but we have time to resend that file closer to closing date, please do that. It doesn't matter how many times I send it up. We'll get the best rate that we can, depending on the time.
How many
So-
days ahead of closing can we ask for that?
I believe a minimum of 3 business days from completion. So we'll go on to the next slide unless somebody has a question. No. So FlexLine, I don't know how many of you have submitted your flex lines in, but we do ask you a little bit more information on this. Unfortunately, the underwriter won't plug the deal in until all this information is filled in. Anybody submitted one, had any issues with them? Any questions about the 5 items here showing on the slide and how to break them down?
I have a question, and
Yeah.
it relates to qualification.
Yeah.
We've heard from another lender that they're qualifying at Deb, what was it called? Was it called the qualifying rate or the benchmark rate, which is actually now 5.69?
Benchmark rate.
So when we're doing the qualification on the term, sorry, on the HELOC portion, what are we using for a number? For a rate, sorry.
Let me pull it up. It's the same. We haven't changed it. It's the 5.39, I believe. One second. I'm just pulling
I'm
up
really putting you on
Merlin.
the spot here.
That's okay. Sam, do you have a quicker answer? I'm just pulling it up on Merlin.
Yeah, sorry, are you asking what
The qualifying rate
was
for a
supposed
flex
to be
line.
using?
Yeah. I believe
For
it's
the-
5.39.
It should be 5.25.
25. I'm just pulling up Merlin. Merlin's not the quickest today. Pete, I'm going to come back to that. I do
Yeah,
have an
so
answer for you.
It's gonna be the greater of 5.25 or the customer's contract rate plus 2%. That applies to flex lines and TD mortgages.
Awesome, thank you.
That,
We had one lender indicate that it was a different rate, like that qualifying rate had actually gone up. So good to know that it's 5.25 or the higher of 2%.
Yeah, and if that were to change, then we'd be sending out a communication right away.
Awesome, thank you.
Good question. And the next slide, if you don't mind. I know we're almost at time here. Rental policies. I've been asked a lot about this recently. I don't know if there's a lot of people buying investment properties these days, but this is just a little bit of a summary of the highlights for the rental policy. When it's single owner occupied, we're only adding 50% add back to income, and we're making sure that we're adding up all the other variables there, the heat, the property tax, condo fees, etc. If it's conventional, it can be removed from net servicing. If it's 2 or more, then we do require the rental worksheet filled out. If the rental deficit is there, we do need to add it as a liability. And if it's a surplus, we do not use the income. I know that was a question that was just asked of me yesterday. But we do take in the payments out from the servicing there. Sorry, my screen just froze. Shoot. Yeah, gotta love technology. 1 second. Oh, there you go. If client doesn't own their primary residence and purchasing a rental, we do need to do 10% of liquid assets to a maximum of 50,000 per borrower, and a valid shelter cost must be used as well. Do you guys see a lot of rentals that you're submitting in lately, or is depending on the areas that you're in?
It can be there for sure on I think a lot of the people that are buying detached homes now, they're looking for something with a suite. So that's for sure there.
Okay. And then if I think we're almost at the end there. The last bit is we still have our spring save offer on. The deals have to fund by July 31st. So I don't know if any of you have some that are qualifying and are going to be funding before the end of July. We are still offering our cashback bonus. And if you have any questions in regards to that, please dial me in. We can definitely see who qualifies and where we're at to get those funded and money in people's pockets before July 31st or by July 31st. Now I know that I'm probably at time, but if you guys have any questions, please.
I think one of the things in the chat there that Sim mentioned is that when we're requesting rate exceptions and that those rate exceptions are approved, that doesn't affect our compensation. So it's not the broker buying down the rate. They're simply rate exceptions that the TD Treasury is making because of a competitive scenario.
That's correct. Yeah, so send them in. Let us get you the best rate possible because it will definitely not affect your compensation.
I have a question. For that cashback program, was that just including a line of credit, or was it just like refinance, or what was the spring promo? A little bit more detail on that.
Sorry, I missed the back end of that. Do you mind? You were asking what qualifies?
Yeah, is it refinances, purchases, line of credits?
It is. It would be qualifying mortgages, lines of credits. Yes, refinances if they're new.
And then if they're current deals already.
As long as they meet the qualifications, which I can resend our offer letter again to distribute between all of you. Just to recap, it does purchases, refinances, transfers in, and even if they're already in the system, as long as they meet the qualifications, they qualify.
Would it be applicable towards a down payment? Or is it, yeah, like using that amount towards a down payment amount.
Like on a new product?
In other words, do you offer a flex down program?
I'm not
I've never heard of that program, but if I understand
the flex down.
correctly,
So the flex, The flex down, you can use a line of credit or a credit card or a loan from someone as your down payment.
So we can do a gift, but we can't do.
No, that's
no.
not the flex down. The gift down, anybody can do. So the flex down means that you can borrow it off your line of credit, or you can use a loan as your down payment. And that's what Kelly was asking, is the cash pack can be used for that.
It would be every deal.
Oh,
would be
no,
sorry, go ahead.
the cashback, yeah, no, the cashback gets paid 4 weeks after the deal is funded, so it wouldn't apply towards a down payment or anything like that. And to qualify, the deal has to fund before July 31st, and the client has to make sure that they set up their payment account to be a TD bank account. So if their payments are being debited from RBC, for example, they wouldn't qualify. But if you do have a client, in which case they forgot to do that, they can set it up after the fact, and you can get in touch with Sonia, and she can have that corrected on exception. It has to be approved, but most of the time we approve those.
One of our brokers has asked, can you describe the difference between the total plan limit and the credit limit?
They're the same.
I don't think that's correct.
Hold on. Are you talking about the flex line?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, apologize. 1 second. I'll go back to that presentation.
Or bonus points to any broker that can answer the question.
Sim can.
Yeah, so the total plan limit, for example, like if you have a $1 million plan limit, the total credit limit is going to be a combination of, like, the 65% of that can be revolving, and then another 15% to take it up to 80% is going to be the term portion, and the revolving portion is going to be only 65%. So that's going to be a little bit different. The total plan limit is just the original amount that you borrow, but as it gets paid down, the line of credit gets bigger, back up to a maximum of 65%. So there's going to be a bit of a difference there, if that makes sense.
Did everyone?
Okay, so the total plan limit is the original amount you borrow, including both the term portion and the revolving portion. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and then contrast that to the credit limit.
Yeah, so in some situations, I thought what Sonia mentioned, she said it's the same. In a lot of scenarios, it is the same, but in some situations, it may not be the same, because you're going up to 80% loan to value, and that will be the total plan limit, but then the credit limit is going to be only 65% loan to value once it gets paid down.
So the way that I think of this, very, very easy with an example. Let's say you had a $1 million home, and what you're doing is you're refinancing to 80%. We all know that there's a HELOC limit at 65. So the total plan limit is 800,000. The credit limit is 650,000. Now that doesn't talk about how you've broken out the various pieces, because that's the term portion. So then we've got the total limit, which is the 800,000. You've got the HELOC, which maxes out at 650. And what Sim was saying is that if you had an $800,000 term portion, you'd have 0 for a HELOC. Only if your term portion is below that 650 would you actually have any HELOC available. But it also means that that HELOC could be used or it could be unutilized. So if you did a $500,000 term portion, then you could have a $150,000 line of credit. Doesn't mean you use the 150 line of credit, just means that that is available to you. So it's weird, it's flexible, but just remember the total is like the global limit. The HELOC limit is 65% of the value, so that'll be that credit limit. And then the term portion it kind of comes separate. The real magic happens in time when you pay down the term portion, because that HELOC opens up.
That's actually perfect. I've jotted down a few. I like the global phrase that you used.
I'm
It's much better than
available
the
for
lingo.
training if you need it in the future.
It's much better than the lingo we've been given.
There's actually there's a guide on FlexLine. I don't know if Sonia, if you have it, that you can send out to your brokers. But if you don't have it, I'll send it to you. And it breaks everything down in there.
I don't have it, but I'll get it from you and I'll send it to Pete. I think this was introduced in February. It was a little bit prior to my joining. I'll send that out. Now, I know that we've exceeded a little bit of our time by 3 minutes. If you have any more questions.
So why would someone, so this is like one last question to kind of wrap this up. Why would someone send a TD versus sending to another lender right now?
Great question. Of course, we're all, pushing for the same pie
Well, one thing
here. Oh, go ahead.
One
Sir.
thing at D is
I'm losing them. Got nothing.
Uh-oh, we lost some.
breaking up there. No, you guys.
No, I don't think we're getting, we're only getting about one out of every probably 10 words. So I'm going to say it's because Sim's a great guy. Is that what he was getting at?
Yes, Sim is actually a great guy. He's been training me quite nicely. He's been very good with his time in getting me up and running.
Awesome. Oh, I do want to say one other thing that I always think of when I think of TD products. If a person accumulates an outstanding or a balance within their HELOC, can that then be put together as a term portion? And how would someone do that? Would they go to the branch or do they contact the broker?
Great question. They go to the branch. So if at any time there was a large revolving amount outstanding and they wanted to fix that into a lower rate, similar to a mortgage rate, then we can contact directly to the branch and get that put in place for the client. It's not us, but if the client is looking for somebody locally, we can definitely direct them to a local branch. So you can contact myself for sure for a contact locally for your client. But the client would be doing that through the branch.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions? Nope. Sonia and Sim, thank you guys so much for being here. I know we had some technical issues, but we got the gist of it. We got the idea. Sonia, if you can follow up with me and send me the most recent rate requests forms, that would be
For
awesome.
both, yeah.
And then I'll distribute to the team. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. And
thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks, guys.
Sim was letting you guys know that we can add 4 applicants to FlexLines, and we have our static payments, which I know has been a question that's been on everybody's mind, is our variables are static. So as rates go up, once the deal is funded, our payments will not change.
Perfect. Unless we hit the trigger
exactly.
rate.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.